Good afternoon and welcome to the Channel 6 News here live at 4. I'm Laura Carlson. Thank you for joining us. Our top story today takes us to the trial of King Charles I of England. Charles was born in November 19, 1600. He was the second son of James VI of Scotland and Anne of Denmark. He became king in 1625 after his brother's death. Charles breaks up Parliament 3 times between 1625 and 1629 and decides to rule alone. His attempt to eliminate Parliament led him to increase taxes. With this decision, Charles I became very unpopular. Charles tried to force a new prayer book, the Angelic Book of Common Prayer, on Scotland. Presbyterian Scots wanted to fight against his new religion, causing Charles I to go to Parliament for funds. Charles tried to arrest 5 members of Parliament after a disagreement over who should command the army. Shortly after, the English Civil War began. Oliver Cromwell was convinced that there would be no peace while the king was still alive. Cromwell put Charles I on trial for high treason. We go to our first reporter in the field, Sarah, who is in the courtroom in London. Sarah, tell us what is going on.
Tyrant, traitor, and murderer, and a public and implacable enemy to the Commonwealth of England. This is the charge that is set against King Charles I. Charles I is the first of our monarchs to be put on trial for treason. Today in London, January 1st, 1649, he is being tried by 68 judges to decide if he is guilty or not. 67 judges did not even show up to the trial, for they have said they don't want to be associated with the trial of our king. The chief judge today is John Bradshaw. He is actually not even a part of the original 135 judges. But none of the 68 judges that did not show up wanted to be chief judge. John Bradshaw is a lawyer, and I can't even imagine the pressure he is feeling. It is said that Bradshaw is wearing a hat with a medal inside to protect his head if there is an outburst. The public is not allowed into the courtroom, but the decision has been just announced by Bradshaw. He, the said Charles Stuart, as a tyrant, traitor, and murderer, and public enemy to the good of the nation, shall be put to death by severing of his head from his body. His date of execution is set for January 30th. This will be a day never forgotten in England's history. Back to you, Laura.
Thanks, Sarah, for that report. And now we go to Shaylin, who has the reaction from the family. Shaylin, this is a pretty emotional day for the family. Tell us more.
The Queen did not want to be on camera, but did give a few statements. After talking with her, she is very upset by what is happening to Charles. She said she is trying to be strong for Charles and the kids, but it is very difficult. She thinks it is an outrage for him to be on trial in the first place. I can only imagine what she must be going through. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Charles' family.
Do the do!
Welcome back to the Channel 6 News. We are keeping up with our top story, King Charles of England. We now go to Jerry, who is interviewing Oliver Cromwell live in our studio.
Hi, welcome to Sit Down with JBT. Today we have Oliver Cromwell. Mr. Cromwell led the Roundheads to victory against the Cavaliers and forced King Charles I into submission. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Cromwell, how does it feel to be the victor of the Civil War? What does this mean for you and the Roundheads?
Well, Jerry, can I call you Jerry?
Sure.
First, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come on the show. I really look up to you and love your work. You are truly a role model individual for people of this earth.
Thank you.
Jerry, this victory for England was long overdue. King Chuck is a sick man and deserves his punishment. It is about time that we come together as a country and guide Mother England in the right direction, not only for the court, but for the fair gentlemen and maidens of this fine country.
So what's next for Oliver Cromwell now that there will be no monarch?
We definitely would like to make a few adjustments to our society and change this country around.
What do you mean by change this country around?
Well, I have a few plans that I'm ready to implement. First and foremost, I would like to rid this country of those filthy Catholics. They are scum to this country. We shall annihilate anyone that believes or supports the Catholic faith. We must also force submission from the nobility. We must continue to crush the rebels of the realm.
So rumor has it that you're going to be named king. How do you feel about that?
Well, I am quite honored to be up for such a nomination, but I am no king. I am a man of the people. I will gladly accept the title of Lord General of the Army or Lord Protector.
Well, thank you, Mr. Cromwell, for coming on the show today. I hope that the reign over the new empire is a successful one.
Thank you.
Back to you, Laura. Wait, this just in. We got Jessica at Whitehall with the beheading of Charles I. We go to you, Jessica.
Hello, I'm Jessica Nidecker reporting live from Whitehall today. As you can see behind me, this is the banqueting hall where King Charles was beheaded for committing high treason against the people of England. An eyewitness to history provided us with some behind-the-scenes intelligence that King Charles was wearing 2 undershirts so as not to shiver from the cold and appear afraid to his subjects. His speech brought newfound sympathy from his subjects. He began by stating his main points to get across. Indeed, I could hold my peace very well if I did not think that holding my peace would make some men think that I did submit to the guilt, as well as to the punishment. But I think that it is my duty to God first and to my country for to clear myself both as an honest man and a good king and a good Christian. To view the entire speech, you can check out our link on our homepage. His speech was to ensure that people knew of his innocence and that he was a good Christian. He gave many examples of his behavior to back up his claim to innocence. Charles claimed to have forgiven the men who were responsible for his death, and that he prayed God that they were not judged for this crime, and that they repent for it. After his speech, he had a conversation with the executioner. Charles wanted him to wait for the sign. The sign turned out to be his "I'm ready to go." He stretched his arms out before himself, then his head was held up for the people of London to see. The people of Europe were shocked by the event that took place just moments ago. The others weren't so affected. A few of the citizens hurried to gather some of his blood. It was for trophies of their villainy, and others as relics of a martyr. His burial will take place on February 9th at Windsor to avoid any public disorder at the funeral. We've been going around getting reactions from people, and here are some of their reactions.
Finally, that tyrant is getting what he deserved.
I just want to see heads roll.
I definitely think that the king deserved what he got.
He deserves to die.
Off with his head!
I'm Laura Carlson, and thanks for joining us here on the Channel 6 News Live at 4. Have a great night.